Okay, so we are back. And we are back and we're ready to go. So I had to go to another platform. So we are, well, another device. So we're working this from a different angle now. So let me just make sure I'm not missing anything, because there's a whole lot of stuff here that I don't need right now. Okay, so let me just minimize this so that I can get to where I want to be. And we can get going with today's session. Okay, good deal. All right, so last time we talked about ReStrategizing. We talked about the initial piece. We had come out of rethinking. And so after we do our rethinking process and gather our data, for those of you that have been watching and keeping up with the series, that'll all make sense to you. If you haven't been keeping up with the series and today is the first day that you have caught me live, then you'll want to go back either on YouTube or on my Bridget Moody Consulting page and watch those initial series or videos so that you can get caught up. So the last time I talked about the initial pieces and parts that we need in order to get to the ReStrategizing piece. And so this piece is definitely a game changer, and so it's going to help you to get that plan and everything in place. So we talked about the game plan. That is your planning piece. Then we talked about resetting goals or setting goals. And then we talked about reestablishing your audience. So for a lot of us, we are in the phase. That means we're redoing, we're re-strategizing, we're refocusing, we're restructuring. We're in a phase. And so it's so important that you go through these steps in order to get yourself to a place of relaunching, okay? So we talked about setting those goals. Now, for a lot of people, re-strategizing, you know, that could be a term that you really don't just really resonate with it. And it could be a term that you're like, okay, well, what is that? There are a lot of different things that relate to re-strategize. So like I said, planning, creating your blueprint, developing a plan, doing your brainstorming as to how you're going to execute, originating a design, aligning your vision with a plan, constructing a plan, putting something together, being innovative, doing an entire innovative process to launch whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So there are a lot of different ways that you can look at this as far as the restructuring is concerned. Okay, so I don't want you to get hung up on that word and what, you know, and that word not really correlating or relating to you, because it does. You just may call it something else. Okay, so any of those areas or any of those things are applicable to the restructuring process. Okay, now when we talked about the other piece we talked about was attributes of the strategy planning. And so I went through some of those, and I'll go a little bit deeper into those today. But I want to talk about re-strategizing itself and what it kind of means, and the fact that it's not as paramount as some people may think. But it does require skill, and it does require attention to details. It requires all of those skill sets to help you get to an expected end. So when you talk about a strategist, so that's a person who can see the big picture. So for instance, it's an area that's a strong suit for me. I can see a big picture. I can hear a revelation of something, and then my brain begins to work on a plan of action, a strategy plan to get to the big picture. So the big picture is what we want to see, but we only have a revelation of that picture. We don't have a how-to, we don't have a step, we don't have a process, we don't have a procedure. So those are the things that happen in the middle, which is your strategy plan. That's getting all of those things into place. That's your data gathering process. That's your planning process. That's putting a structure in place. That's a breakdown structure process. So you're breaking down the work into bite-sized chunks or pieces that can be managed and that can be handled, or it can be delegated. Okay, so it's a person, a strategist is a person who can see the big picture. And if you're a person who's not able to see the big picture, it means that it has to be literal for you. You have to see it tangibly in order to comprehend it, in order to really have that realization. Then you'll want to get someone that can help you with that process. It's also a person who can articulate vision and purpose and be effective in connecting the dots in business or for business. So you have to utilize all of those aspects and bring all those things together, connect all those dots, put all those squares together, all those pieces together, so that you can come up with a final product or a result. Okay, a strategist is also someone who is aware of the trainings both inside and outside of a business or company, and a strategist knows how to leverage for the good of the company or business long term, or the project long term. In addition to that, strategy is about the designing and the managing and the devising of a plan, or holistically, whatever the project may be. A strategy plan or a strategic plan is used to communicate the goals, the actions needed, and the elements developed during the planning phase or process. A strategic plan, this is our ReStrategizing process. A strategic plan is used to communicate goals, actions needed, and the elements developed during the planning phase. So what's going to happen is it's going to help you to determine what you need to do, who you need to do it with, and when you need to do it. And it's going to combine all of the aspects, resources, time durations, and all of that that's going to be required for you to get that done in a timely fashion or by your expected goal or expected result. So that's the nut and bolts of strategy planning, or a strategist or a person who has that focus and those abilities and skills. And I can hear some people saying, that is a whole lot. I don't know what you just said. Well, that's why I'm sharing with you practical steps to help you gather data and determine what direction you want to go in with using a strategic plan or a strategy managing process. So while you may not be able to implement or integrate all of those things, there are practical things that you can do that will help you get from point A to point B. Okay? So don't spaz out. Just go back, listen to it again, and take it real slow. Rewind me and get it, and I think you'll be able to keep up. So some of the things I shared last week about attributes of strategy planning. Number one, and I may not get through all of these, but I'm going to take these a little bit at a time. I threw them out last week, and so this week I want to just kind of start talking about them a little slowly. So I'm going to take a moment to just kind of go through them a little bit at a time. So the first one is objective situational analysis. What does that mean? So what you want to do is be objective about the things that, what is the end goal? What's the scope of what you want to do, right? Put that in a reality type situation, or a real-time situation or scenario, so that you can properly analyze what's necessary, how you're going to define that objective, what is it going to take to accomplish that objective. So these are just some attributes of planning, because you have to really be objective. You have to analyze what you're doing and really pay attention. You have to drill down on the things that are necessary to help you get your planning in place. So that's one of the things that's definitely important. And during your analysis, here's a part of the data gathering, making sure that you are analyzing the end goal, what's going to be required when it comes to the time it's going to take, the money it's going to take. These are all things that are going to be necessary. And when you're talking about a particular field or a particular objective, you want to look at statistics regarding that particular area. Research it, make sure that you understand it clearly. So if there are aspects of that entail some deeper dive or education on your part, you can make sure that you prepare yourself for that, and ensure that you've analyzed it from at least 3 different perspectives, or from 3 different industry levels or companies, or whatever may be applicable depending upon what type of project you're doing. Okay, so for instance, if you were doing say for instance you were a seamstress and you had a project in sewing. Well, you want to analyze the different types of material, the cost of the materials in this day and time. You want to determine how accessible are the materials, how quickly can they be shipped, are they shippable, is there a backlog for certain type of materials. You want to determine where the manufacturing is taking place. Is it offshore, is it onshore? How feasible is it that you're able to get the material over and over again, or is there a limited supply? You want to definitely check out the supply chain for that. So all of that is objective situational analysis, right? So you're just making sure that you have a good handle on what's happening, what it is that you want to do objectively, and you're analyzing that, and you're documenting your findings on that particular objective or that particular projective scope. Number 2 is clarity of purpose and realistic goals. Okay, so you want to be real clear. You want to make sure that your purpose is aligned with your goals. You want it to be something that, because your whole goal is to be successful. So you want to make sure that it's definitely realistic with where you are, even if that means you have to do it incrementally and you have to have an adjusted process to getting to an expected end, if that makes sense. So having a clear vision on it, clarity is so very, very, very key. So that encompasses your personhood and who you are. What do you call the purpose to do? So if you're doing something that's totally out of your natural innate abilities, you definitely want to make sure that your goals are realistic, because you'll want to tread those waters lightly and you'll want to tread them softly until you establish a flow for that if it's outside of your innate ability, especially, and this can be true when you are doing something for the purpose of just establishing another stream of income. It's not really something that's tied to your purpose and your passion. You're not really, passionate about it, but it's a skill that you can do, and you can do it well. And for whatever reason, you've done your research and it's told you that it's something that is achievable. Okay, so in a situation like this, the purpose may not be tied to your passion, but you want to make sure that the goals are definitely realistic, and you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Okay, so the third thing that I'll cover today, because I definitely want to stay within a particular time frame, is a sense of urgency. Whenever you're going to set out to put a plan of action in place, you definitely want to make sure that you have a timeline. Your time management is important. Having a sense of urgency just speaks to the fact that if you establish a plan today that requires products that you need to acquire, resources that you need to get that are in high demand, you don't want to wait around to do that. You want to make sure that you go ahead and establish the information that's necessary to accomplish those get those resources, acquire those resources, or tap into getting those materials, because time matters. Time is money, and money is time, and you can't get a refund on your time. So if you miss that window of opportunity, then it will, in addition to that, derail your plan for success as you move forward. So that's very, very, very key. And if you're a person who does not manage time well, and you don't have a sense of urgency, you're kind of lackadaisical, and you procrastinate a little bit, then you'll want to, number one, either make sure that you have a resource that can help you to manage that and keep you on track, or you want to make sure that that's something that you really seek out very, very clearly, and you take some time to accomplish your time management, so that you can, when you set out to do your project or your goal, or do your adjusting process, that you have a handle on what's going to be feasible for you, and that you're not distracted and you don't have a different focus, because that's going to be very, very, very important. Okay, so I want to cut off there today. So those are 3, and then I'll go into some more attributes on next week, and I think those are going to also kind of help to be a little bit more, give a little bit more in-depth information about how it can help you during your planning process, because these are various attributes that are going to be important as you put a plan of action together. So I hope that these sessions are being helpful and informative for you, and helping you to really kind of establish a means by which to put a plan of action together if that's what you're working on. And for a lot of people, it is in this season. And so you definitely just want to make sure that, like I said, go back, rewind it, replay it, and get that information so that you can, kind of do some exercises and do some self-evaluation and just see how well do you operate with some of these areas. Here again, always feel free to put questions in the chat when you watch it, and I'll be happy to answer those the next time that we're together. And I look forward to seeing you the next time right here, same place, Bridget Moody Consulting. And again, if you hadn't been watching before today, go back, watch those videos, and get caught up, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful evening.